Welcome everyone to Why Soul Works. Got a great group on already tonight. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for adding your comments. It's makes the show better. So thank you for that. You know, today we're talking about the product that I enjoy the most. I take my CinnaMâte hot, and I take it straight and in the morning. And it's the product that I like because I like the taste of it, and I like that it warms me and that it gives me energy, and that it soothes my stomach sometimes when I need that. And the 5 incredibly nutritious ingredients that are in it rarely cross my mind because I like it so much. But it does make me happy to know that unlike another drink that I might choose to drink in the morning to start my day, it is so very good for me in so many ways. In fact, let's talk about that right now on Why Soul Works. So today we have with us Greg Halliday, who we are fortunate to have him, who is our founder and president of Soul Naturals. And he is here, and he's going to share his thoughts and his wisdom about CinnaMâte tonight. Thank you for joining us.
I'm happy to be here, Kendall. Even though you demoted me, that's fine.
Oh, man.
I'll be the VP. just being here with you makes me happy, and everyone else. Like you, I love all the comments too. So
Yeah.
If you have questions, tell us. Comment them in, and we'll try to bring some of them into the discussion. I'm like Kendall. He was telling me the other day. He said, even if it weren't good for me, I would drink this every day.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy to hear that, because we also know how good it is for you. In fact, it's not just something that's good for you once in a while. If it's part of your regular nutrition, CinnaMâte is something that builds over time and creates a stronger and a more energetic and a more robust health, just in general. And I think when we look at some of the ingredients today, we'll be able to see why.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to dive into. In fact, I was thinking about this too, Kendall, before we started. I know I'm a little bit of an optimist. You know, you could call me an eternal optimist.
Yeah.
But I think that if every single household, no matter who lives there, would take or could take 10 minutes and just listen to what we're about to share tonight, and give their attention to it and hear it, I believe that 100% of those households would want CinnaMâte in their cupboard. Yeah. Because of how far-reaching the health benefits are of this drink, and the fact that it's something everyone can take, and you can use as often as you want.
Yeah.
And it's easy to use. Yeah.
And to that note, how do you like to take your CinnaMâte?
How do I like to take it? I'm like you. It's so funny. I started out drinking it probably half the time cold, because it's really good cold. And sometimes when I don't have the ability to heat it, I'll drink it cold, and I find that I enjoy it just fine, which is strange to me, because the rest of the time I'm always drinking it in a hot mug, because I can here in the office, and it is so easy to heat it. I mean, in fact, I think we're going to maybe make it even easier a little later in the show,
Maybe.
To heat your CinnaMâte. Maybe. I mean, I don't know that, but there's a chance. But I do think that for some strange reason, I have gravitated to just loving it hot.
Yeah.
And I'll probably have it right now, I would say twice a day. Probably safely would say I have 2 mugs of CinnaMâte a day, and it does wonders for me. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I like to take it.
But you'd like to take it for different purposes throughout the day. You sometimes take it after lunch to kind of help you digest and soothe yourself.
Yeah.
Like that. And then sometimes you take it for like a pre-workout or
as well in the morning sometimes. And in fact, if you're like me, or if anyone listening to this is like me, I was one of those people that after lunch, give me a couple hours and I will have that mid-afternoon lull. I'm not going to say crash. I don't know that it ever felt like a crash to me, but it was definitely a noticeable lull.
Yeah.
And lull to me is like all of it. not quite so energetic, maybe even not quite so happy. And CinnaMâte post lunch is still one of my favorite things because it is a digestive for me. It's a blood sugar balancer. Even if I wasn't perfect at my lunch, which I'm better at now that I minify before my lunch.
Yeah.
But that's like a power combo for me. Minify before lunch and then CinnaMâte after has really been a game changer. Even for someone like me who kind of lives in this arena and is always using different supplements to sort of balance out my eating and my lifestyle. So I do like it after lunch. I love it right before I'm going to read. You're going to sit down to a book or whether you're listening to one or you're going to pop up. I like paper books still. I know I need to get with the times.
No.
But I like to sip a CinnaMâte prior to a Zoom or a live stream. I like it then. It's such a great focuser and relaxer kind of for me. It kind of does both those things. So over the years, what has it been? We're running on almost 12 years now.
Yeah.
I've noticed that I have my places where I really like it. And it finds its way into my mug pretty often.
Yeah.
In fact, I have to tell you one more thing, Kendall. So when I go out from time to time and travel to meetings, I was in Houston last weekend. First time in a certain area, a little bit north of Houston, more rural area. If you're familiar with the Houston area, the Cleveland, north of it, right in that area. And sometimes when I go out, the Solle brand specialists who are putting on the meeting will give me like a little gift. And the last 2 times I've done meetings, they've given me mugs.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So that tells you how much the CinnaMâte finds its way in a mug.
Yeah.
They're like, he could use a mug.
Yeah, I wasn't into mugs before CinnaMâte, but now I love mugs. I got them all over my house now.
They're handy.
Yeah. So CinnaMâte has 5 ingredients, 5 really nutritious ingredients, herbs. Nopal, cactus fruit, banana leaf, thyme, cinnamon. But do you know the most famous ingredient of all? Yerba mate.
That's true.
And you're going to spend a little bit of time on yerba mate because it is such a great ingredient, such a great herb that we are so proud and grateful to have in CinnaMâte. So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yerba mate?
I'd be happy to. That intro was good, Kendall. Maybe a few weeks,
post Christmas,
stretched out, but that's okay. We'll take that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about why CinnaMâte does all the great things that it does and maybe give you those reasons. If you're one of those households that can spare 10 minutes to hear something that would change your life, and I know it will, it's this product and these next few minutes. So let's start with yerba mate. Kendall's right. It's the most famous ingredient. Inexplicably, it's largely unknown here. I mean, if we did a survey to just out there generally in society, I would bet that more than 9 out of 10 people do not know what yerba mate is. I think if you're into herbs, maybe, but...
Well, in the North.
Yeah.
In North America and South America.
Oh, and the rest of the Americas, it's probably the flip-flop.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 do know.
Yeah.
Here's just a few facts. Let's run through them really fast. Over in Europe, back in 1996, yerba mate indicated in the pharmacopoeia, the British Herbal Pharmacopoeia, for treatment of fatigue, weight loss, headaches. Over in India, in the Ayurvedic Pharmacopoeia, indicated for psychogenic headache, nervous depression, fatigue, rheumatic pain. Let's keep going. We're talking 60 years ago this year. The Pasteur Institute in France declared, it is difficult to find a plant in any area of the world equal to mate in nutritional value. That statement I never tire of repeating because it is still true. An interesting study clear just a few years ago in 2011, it's more effective when the fresh powder, so these are the leaves and the stems of the mate tree, which is an evergreen tree, by the way, grows in South America. When they're packaged to avoid moisture and humidity and sealed as they are with Solle's packaging, they're much more effective because more of the components keep their potency. Some people call yerba mate the liquid vegetable. Dr. Allison says it's full of the good stuff. Look at this short list. This is not even close to all. I'll tell you what the total number is. But look at this. Quercetin, theobromine, theophylline. More about those in a second. Minerals, manganese, potassium, zinc, calcium, iron, selenium, magnesium. Just stalwarts of our daily mineral needs are there in mate. Vitamins A, B1, B2, B3, B5, vitamin C, also chlorophyll, beta carotene, inositol, 15 different amino acids, and the list goes on and on. This is really nutritious. You know, if someone in your life's telling you need to eat more vegetables, you could say, well, I could drink them. I'll drink them. The xanthines are one of the components, or a group or a family of components in yerba mate. They deserve a little bit of attention. Xanthines are alkaloids that are commonly used as stimulants or bronchodilators. So making breathing more complete, more deep, and easier. They alert the central nervous system, so hence the focus, and they stimulate respiration, okay? There are 3 of them at least. There may be more, but there are 3 of them we know of in yerba mate. Caffeine, theobromine, and theophylline. What do these do? They stimulate heart rate. They stimulate digestion and the excretion of digestive juices like HCl and pepsin, and they relax smooth muscles. Now, if you don't know what smooth muscles are, those are the muscles usually of internal organs that aren't so striated. They aren't so regular in their fibers. So another way of putting it is pretty much any muscle you see on Jordan is smooth muscle.
Right.
That's just an easy way to remember it. So yerba mate and these xanthines, they actually will relax the smooth muscles. Why is that important? Well, we'll see in just a second. What's so unique about yerba mate? It has all 3 of these. These are very famous xanthines. Usually plants have one of them, or chocolate like theobromine. Chocolate has that one. Certain plants like guarana and other plants have caffeine. To have all 3 is pretty impressive. And there's more. It turns out that yerba mate, says Dr. Mowry, who's director of Mountain West Institute of Herbal Science, is not identical to caffeine. It differs from caffeine in some rather dramatic ways. Some members of the scientific community still resort to calling matin a South American term for caffeine, or to maintaining, he says, in perfect knowledge of the falseness of the assertion that the 2 substances, so similar chemically, must have the same properties. But slowly, he says, they are being forced to acknowledge the distinction between matin, or in other words, the caffeine in mate, and caffeine that you find elsewhere. So, what are the differences? Why is yerba mate so impressive? Why is it the most famous ingredient in CinnaMâte? Well, yerba mate stimulates the central nervous system, but is not addicting, not habituating. It is actually better for your sleep versus worse for your sleep, which is what you find with others, any kind of synthetic caffeine and most forms of it in other plants, or like in coffee. Yerba mate improves muscle performance without the depressant after effects. So many people use pre-workout caffeine, and there is a depressant effect after. Not so with the matin or the caffeine in mate. And some people that are really caffeine sensitive will notice, wow, I can actually drink yerba mate because there are not adverse effects from it. And there's more, okay? Theobromine, we mentioned that, another one of this famous group. You can see the chocolate there, along with its molecular structure, I guess. I'm guessing this comes from Dr. Allison's training. Theobromine's different because this one is a longer lasting, more smooth, more stamina described energy. But it is also a vasodilator, so your blood vessels, and it lets you relax the smooth muscle, so hence the digestive help in the product. And unlike so many stimulants, instead of raising blood pressure, it actually can lower it. That's the great thing about theobromine. So now there's such a large amount of nutrients in yerba mate. I promised I'd tell you the number. It does kind of change a little as they discover new ones. Some of them are novel to mate. But look at this number right here. You're talking within 4 of 200 different vitamins, minerals, and other chemical compounds that we know are good for us. So sometimes people say, hey, do you still use a multivitamin, Greg? Well, I haven't found one that's anywhere close to as nutritious as yerba mate. And in fact, reading a few years ago that the Argentine government recommended that children under a certain age drink mate every day to improve their nutritional profile, did not surprise me.
Yeah.
Well, it's super nutritious. Even more so than green tea, which gets a lot of press because of how nutritious it is and how many beneficial compounds. You can see mate has even more than either green tea or red wine in this important group of components known as polyphenols. This was a study in 2005. So I'm not even quite done yet. Now let's compare it to some of the real famous teas, because tea is another place people look to get focus and energy, right? These polyphenols, these important immune system components. You're talking 3 times as many in yerba mate. Look at the left-hand side of this slide. Yerba mate versus green tea and black tea. About 3 times, actually slightly more than 3 times as many. And then comparing to like free radicals and those protective qualities that are known in several of these teas. Yerba mate, in fact, is not a tea plant. It's just an evergreen tree that's drunk like a tea. Again, it's more than twice. So why isn't it more famous in here? Well, because not enough people have heard this 10-minute conversation. And if people could hear it, they would all want it. Here's a great summary of yerba mate. Caffeine in coffee and colas actually, over time, can impair memory, impair sleep, and heighten anxiety. It does in the short term what we're looking for, the energy, the focus, but what it creates is a situation that impairs memory, impairs sleep, causes anxiety. Yerba mate, on the other hand, enhances it, does not cause anxiety, and can improve sleep. This is why I wish everyone could hear this. On top of that, here's some recent studies, 2012. This happened right when we launched CinnaMâte. Some antiviral properties were known. In fact, they were looking in the food industry, anything that was in powder form. Let's throw some yerba mate powder because the microbials don't grow in it. We'll keep the food clean and pure with it. Well, they noticed in the viral studies that with yerba mate, viruses don't enter or spread from cell to cell. Now, that's another little, did you know? And here's another great one. We have a lot of women on here tonight, but I can tell you men, this will help you too. But there was a study published in Bone magazine, again, when we launched CinnaMâte. Yerba mate consumption is associated with stronger bones. End of story. Now, it's not just in postmenopausal. I know the study was with postmenopausal women, but I would offer that if children are drinking it and at any age we're drinking it, our bodies constantly, as Valerie Bledsoe taught us recently, constantly rebuilding its bone. But it has to rebuild with what we give it. What kind of minerals are we eating? What kind of other plant compounds are there? And that whole, how healthy are our kidneys and all these organs that are involved in it. Yerba mate, because it helps in many of these ways, results in those who add that to their diet, better bones, stronger bones. We all want that. Kendall, I feel like I'm motoring through. There's something that I need to stop and let you say.
There's actually been a couple comments. Denise Norbert said that she struggles taking caffeine, anything with caffeine in it, but CinnaMâte, the caffeine in CinnaMâte doesn't affect her the same way that actual caffeine does.
So Denise is a dear friend.
Yeah.
And so I've been able to witness this before Solle was around and when Solle came, and I can tell you absolutely. Denise shared from the moment she started using it, 2 or 3 things where it was a game changer and still is for her. Yeah, absolutely. So I got to witness that.
Seashell Pony, which great name, by the way, said that her sister likes to take CinnaMâte at night. You would think that, you can't take it at night because that caffeine's going to keep you up or it's going to, not let you sleep. But for some people, it really does help them sleep.
I have known a few, and that is the exception to the rule, which means nothing other than you're special if you can do that, because the body knows what it needs, and and that's why we have the Solle categories in red, yellow, green, and blue, right? Because different needs will result in, because of the adaptogens in CinnaMâte, certain people. I knew another good friend. She was the same way. A hot mug of CinnaMâte before bed, and then could sleep super well. But than what we just read and listened to about CinnaMâte, about the particular components in yerba mate kind of shed some light on how it improves sleep in some people. Yeah. Should we jump to other ingredients,
Let's
Kendall?
talk about cinnamon, which is, I'm a big cinnamon fan. The taste, I love cinnamon for its taste, and that's one of the reasons I love CinnaMâte is because it tastes like cinnamon.
And we all should love cinnamon as much as you. It's a Fab 5 ingredient. Why? Look at this slide. It actually possesses what the researchers described as a surprising ability to extend the utilization of insulin in the blood. So the pancreas doesn't have to work as hard. It also reduces levels of blood sugar within and without the normal range. So people that are pretty good, and it keeps, so whether I'm wanting to manage them, keep them in the normal range. In other words, it's not going to send me outside of the normal range. Or if I'm too high, I'm outside the normal range, cinnamon can help me in both situations. Here's another study published in Diabetes Care supporting cholesterol levels. And so they took 3 different amounts of cinnamon, 1, 3, or 6 grams per day. So a gram would be like 2 capsules of cinnamon. And here's what they found. It reduced blood sugar, also triglycerides, LDL cholesterol, and total cholesterol, all in people that have type 2 diabetes. So I think it makes sense published in something that Diabetes Care. Well, I would put out there, all of us need diabetes care. Whether we're diagnosed with a condition or we just want to care for ourselves so that is not our situation, this is sound advice for everybody. And here's another thing to go to the emotional side of cinnamon now and the mental side of this product. Because you mentioned Denise. Denise used to tell me CinnaMâte is my smile. The cinnamon aroma, here's a study in the North American Journal of Psychology in 2009. Whether it was administered either orthonasally or retronasally, it improved people's scores on tasks related to attention, virtual recognition memory, working memory, and visual motor response speed. And I read the whole study. It's super interesting because cinnamon is a warming. I look at it as, it brings things up, including the edges of our mouth into a smile. But it also, some things can be warming and almost like dulling the senses, and you're not quite so aware and alert of other. Cinnamon's not that. It actually makes you more alert and focus better while it still warms you. So Fab 5 for a reason. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Fab 5, you want to know why? This one's another adaptogen. Nopal cactus, we talk about it from time to time, and you find it in a few things. It's a superior herb, and just a reminder, that term superior, we don't use it as just your run-of-the-mill adjective. We use it in the sense that traditional Chinese medicine uses it, meaning that a superior herb is something you can take daily safely in the quantities that you need to meet the need. A superior herb in that sense. It's more than just a blood sugar stabilizer. Lots of research on nutrients in Nopal that help the body balance sugars. But it is an adaptogen and it is a mood lifter and leveler as well. It also happens to be super nutritious. So here's a little snapshot into Nopal. Amino acids, a bunch of them, vitamins, A and C, and many other compounds. I wish we had the number here because I can't remember the exact number. My memory is that it was something north of 100. So not that little red fruit you see. If you can run down to the grocery store and get you one and go eat it, do it. Or you could buy a box of CinnaMâte and just pour it into a drink because it's super nutritious. And I personally believe one of the reasons CinnaMâte helps people with cravings and that whole part of thing where I'm snacking and I don't really want to is because it's so highly nutritious. It meets the needs of body nutrient cravings that I think are one of the reasons for these cravings that we have. But it also affects mood. And so one of the very common reasons for snacking definitely is mood related. And we don't have that severe pull for that when we get Nopal in us. Here's another study from Nopal, Sicily. In folk medicine, they use it for gastric ulcers. So that was just its historic use. So in modern times, Italian scientists decided, hey, we're going to do a study on that. And they found it to actually bear out that if Nopal was in the diet, when things that would normally cause ulcers, so you can have stress and you can have different reasons for ulcers, that the Nopal helped protect the digestive and the gastric lining against these ulcers. So another great reason for it. Now we go to number 4, banaba leaf. Banaba leaf is another blood sugar regulator. Why are there so many blood sugar stabilizers in this formula? Well, I guess, again, speaking of our own philosophy at Solle, I don't know if anything can roller coaster mood faster than changes in our sugar levels. Like both positive and negative. Suddenly I'm happy, I have energy, I'm focused, I'm ready to go. Suddenly I'm down, I'm dragging, I can't figure out why, or I'm unhappy or even anxious. So what we do nutritionally to strengthen our body's ability to manage sugar levels, it has immediate effects, really. And CinnaMâte is one of those things someone for the first time can drink it, and within a few minutes, 5, 10, 20 minutes, can go, hey, I'm feeling something, I'm feeling better. Why? Because it gets right in there and starts to play a role in that. Banaba leaf is one of the reasons. Look at some of these studies with banaba leaf. This is 2003 published. We're talking 20 to 30% reduced when blood sugar levels were high with this particular extract of banaba leaf, which is 1% corosolic acid. That's the exact extract we use in CinnaMâte, by the way. But look at the end of that little paragraph. It did not reduce serum glucose in healthy individuals. To me, that's a flag of an adaptogenic property.
Yeah.
Body took what it needed, did what needed to happen in the imbalance, but it did not, like a drug or a chemical, force people into a bad situation out of balance because of the nutrition. So this is a classic example of the types of ingredients we choose for Solle products because of that. And here's another study. I think this was part of the same studies. They noticed that the individuals that were receiving this corosolic acid from banaba leaf, they actually had a tendency toward weight loss. The average was around 3 pounds. So if you're looking at a little bit at healthy weight and that final 3 pounds is eluding you, like no matter what you do, that last 3 pounds doesn't happen, well, there you go. We found your 3 pounds. It might be the banaba leaf. This might help you in that. And here's the last one. Here's the last thing in our Fab 5, thyme. More common, more people have heard of it. Thyme is often found in kitchens. It's wonderful to use as often as you can in your diet. It's antimicrobial. It's nutrient rich. Again, there's a theme there. If it's in CinnaMâte, it's loaded with vitamins, minerals, nutrition. This is going to fill a lot of gaps in our diet. But it also, thyme has loaded with certain flavonoids that are have important immune role. It's a great herb for healthy lungs and any kind of situation that might be respiratory irritation. So I'm even thinking about like changes in seasons and allergies and things, or coming into, cold and flu season where there's more irritation. And it is it's antimicrobial as well, kind of like yerba mate. They studied, you can see maybe on this, back to this slide, the formation of candida. When you get overgrowth of candida, both cinnamon, which is in CinnaMâte in 2 different forms, actually 3 if you include the cinnamon oil, and thyme both interfere with too much candida overgrowth. So that's good. It's a digestive aid, back to the digestion. I definitely feel that benefit. It's high in chromium, which helps our pancreas, and it's historically been used for discomfort and inflammation. And one of these studies was with women. So I think that might be our little run through the slides before I don't want to hit the next slide unless let's see what we got. Oh, okay, we have a summary slide. Are we ready for that, Kendall, or do we have other comments?
Yeah, let's talk about the key benefits.
Okay, so summarizing, blood sugar, a huge element in just our general energy and in our mood. Craving controls, again, huge, because we have the cravings for a reason, by the way. And if we can fill those nutritional gaps and fill those stress, that stress impact, bolster it, lift it, then cravings become something very different and much easier to manage. It's clean energy because it deals It helps the body deal in the healthiest way with what we put in it. Gut health, it has lots of different benefits for maintaining and protecting our gut, as we mentioned with Nopal. It's got great immune properties, and because of the unique alkaloid family in yerba mate, it is fantastic for mental focus. So that's a pretty good list of benefits for CinnaMâte. And you know what? It tastes so good, you probably won't even care if it's good for you.
Exactly. I like to sometimes ask what or why does the product work? And so I'll ask, why does CinnaMâte work? To speak to the title of the show. You want to kind of, we just talked about all the benefits of it, but can you wrap that up and tell us why you think that?
Yeah, I think you could summarize it in a sentence. It works because it is so incredibly nutritious, and it is a balancer of blood sugar levels, which have a huge impact on our focus and our energy.
Mm-hmm. And I would like to add that it works because it's easy to take, because it makes you want to take it. And if you're not getting nutrition into your body, it can't work. So, and that's what I love about it, is it's just so dang easy to take. Yeah. So thanks, Greg. You've
My pleasure.
enriched us again. So thank you for joining us tonight.
My pleasure.
Now is my favorite time of the show, when we get to talk to somebody who has had an experience with our product. And tonight we are going to get to listen to a fellow CinnaMâte lover who is joining us from Idaho, Corinne Lott. Hi, Corinne.
Hey.
How are you tonight?
I am so good. How are you?
Doing well. So
Good deal.
I believe that you are a CinnaMâte lover, like me and Greg and others here. So why don't you tell us about why you like CinnaMâte?
Well, there are lots of reasons. As you guys showed that last slide of the rundown of the many things that it does, like the blood sugar and the craving control, I think mine would have to be the clean energy. I've been using CinnaMâte for over 10 years now. And usually I would just mix it with my Vital in the morning and sip on it throughout the day. Sometimes I would have 2 or 3 a day. And I really didn't have, I wasn't getting sick. I was feeling good. I was accomplishing a lot. And one thing that I think is a huge testimony of the CinnaMâte is I have people stop me all the time or message me going, I don't know how you get so much done in a day. I don't know what you're doing, but whatever it is, you need to share it with me. And I'd have to say that it's CinnaMâte. The energy and the focus and just how good I feel on it. When you called and asked me to share, I'm like, I just love it. I love how I feel. And that I could have just ended with that. Like I said, there are days where I have 2 or 3. And I've loved all the digestive benefits. I am a big advocate for gut health. And I believe that CinnaMâte does give us that digestive energy that we need. And I can tell a difference, with bloating and just any of the stomach cramping and thing that usually comes. I'm known as the sugar queen. Those that know me, or those that have been in my car or on a trip with me, they know that I always have some sugar with me. And it reminds me of years ago, I was listening to Dr. Allison, and she said, you guys quit using Solle as a Band-Aid. Just clean up your diet and quit eating all of the stuff that you're not supposed to. And I thought, oh, she's talking right to me, because I use Solle and I still enjoy all the many things. And I don't, have any issues with it. There is a lot of busy days that are happening with being a mom and a wife and a daughter and a granddaughter, just all the things that I'm doing. And there are days that sometimes, and I was not gonna confess this, but there are days where CinnaMâte is the only thing that I put in my mouth. I shouldn't say it like that. I eat, but it's the CinnaMâte that I make sure that I never go a day without. And after hearing all of the benefits of all the different ingredients, I can say, thank you, Greg. Now I don't feel guilty for just having the CinnaMâte because it is giving me all those vitamins and minerals and all the things that I need. So I just love how I feel on it. And I had to go make me another cup of CinnaMâte hot chocolate. That is my most favorite way to drink it. And I will do that, especially with these negative temperatures here in Idaho. I find myself having a warm mug several times a day, and I do my CinnaMâte with a little bit of hot chocolate, and I love it.
Well, thank you. I can testify that you are a busy woman and you get a lot done. So I think that you can testify that that's what's going on there. Thank you for sharing your time with us tonight. We'll talk to you later. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Corinne. Now, Greg mentioned a little something about making it easier to have a warm CinnaMâte. I'd like to share with you tonight, we have this kettle, what we call a travel kettle. It is a device that has a cord. It's about the size of a shaker bottle, a little bigger. You plug it in, turn it on, heat your water up, and then you can mix up your CinnaMâte or whatever drink you would like. And it's fantastic. Now, the offer is, if you purchase a CinnaMâte, you can get a travel kettle for $15, which is a $30.50 value. What you do is you apply a code TravelMate to your order after you've put a CinnaMâte in your cart, and that will add the travel mug to your cart for $15. Now, this offer is good through January 22nd, next Monday. So hurry and get on that and get yourself one of these travel mugs. They are so great to heat up your stuff when you're away, when you're home. Really, they're handy. They're nice to put in the corner. You don't have to have a big old kettle on the thing, and you can get a box of CinnaMâte, heat it up with your new travel kettle. It'd be fantastic. I'm excited for these. You got to remember, you open up the top and let the steam out as you're heating that up. That will get quite hot, so you need to be careful not to touch your lips to that edge, because it does get quite hot. So take advantage of that offer. It's a good offer. Now, our next show will be on February 6th. Why So Works on February 6th. We're going to talk about Avant Greens. It's exciting. We'll have some good information about that, some new things to share about that even. So we will see you on our next show. That's all of our show for tonight. Thank you for joining us.